Good day. It's good to have you here today. This is Strength for Today, and it's presented by me, George Sidney Mkandawire. Today, we address the subtle corruption that weakens prayer at its core, and that is adoration, loving God for who He truly is. God has become a useful thing to many people rather than the central thing for many people. Many people pray faithfully, but rarely adore Him for who He is. So they approach God for what they can get, for their outcome, and not approaching God for who He truly is. The issue here is not about activity, but it's about affection. We are going to read from Revelation chapter number 4 and verse number 11. And this is what it says in the New American Standard Bible, the 1995 version. Worthy are you, O Lord, and our God, to receive glory and honor and power. For you created all things, and because of your will they existed and were created. This is heaven speaking. This is creation responding. Notice what is absent here. There is no requests, no asking of anything in this text. Heaven is not negotiating. Heaven is beholding. Adoration is not prayer that asks. Adoration is prayer that acknowledges who God is. The Greek word that is translated for worship or adoration is the word proskuneō. Now, proskuneō means to bow forward, to move oneself forward, and to move oneself toward another in reverence and in honor. This word does not describe distance. This word describes directed devotion. Proskuneō is not admiration from afar. Proskuneō is nearness with submission. When you adore God, you are not informing Him of anything, but you are agreeing with reality. Revelation reveals a governing truth, and that governing truth is that creation does not exist to serve man's comfort, but creation exists to display God's worth. We see in this book of Revelation, the elders fall down. The crowns are cast from off their heads. The focus is singular. This is not emotional excess. This is ordered worship. Adoration centers prayer. Let me say that again. Adoration recenters prayer around God's nature rather than centering around man's needs. It is repositioning the heart before it ever shapes the request. Transactional prayer asks, what can God do for me? Whereas adoration declares, God is worthy regardless of what I'm going through or the problems that I am facing. When adoration is present, prayer becomes anxious. When adoration is absent, prayer becomes anxious. When adoration is restored, prayer becomes steady. From the text that we have read, several governing principles must be rediscovered or recovered. And those principles are: adoration precedes intervention. God's worth is acknowledged or is to be acknowledged before needs are ever presented to God. Worship realigns vision upwards. Reverence dismantles any kind of entitlement. Where adoration is weak, self-interest grows, and it grows aloud. Where adoration is strong, motives are purified. So ask yourself honestly, when you pray, who occupies the center? Your needs or His nature? Do your prayers begin with God's attributes or with your pressures or that which is putting pressure on you? Do you adore Him for who He is or only thank Him for what He has done? You see, adoration enlarges the spiritual perspective. It lifts your sight beyond your present circumstances, and it makes you look into sovereignty. When God is seen rightly, situations that you are facing shrinks proportionately. When God is reduced, guess what? The problems dominate. So adoration does something critical to you. It quietens the orphans, and it causes the impulse or the orphan impulse to earn attention through asking. I have learned this through years of ministry. Whenever prayer becomes strained, it was because adoration was rushed or adoration was skipped completely. When I lingered in the presence of God, clarity followed without striving. Peace arrived before answers did. Therefore, adoration did not change God's position, but it corrected my position. Worship, heaven's worship, let's put it this way. Heaven's worship scene, the one that we saw in chapter 4 and verse number 11, teaches us something sobering. Those closest to the king, those closest to the throne, those closest to his presence, ask for nothing. Why? Because they lack nothing. Adoration is not inefficiency. It is alignment. A true father, like everyone knows that affection anchors authority. And a true son learns that honor precedes any kind of inheritance. If you want prayer that carries weight, restore adoration. If you want prayer that forms maturity, linger in God's reverence by revering God more. Spend quality time in the presence of God, just revering God. So this week, resist the urge to ask God quickly. Choose one moment where you are saying, I'll just adore Him. Speak His attributes aloud. Name His holiness. Declare His sovereignty and acknowledge His will. Let adoration silence your self-interest. Let God regain centrality. Prayer is not meant to start with your voice filling the room, but rather it is meant to begin with your heart bowing low to God and revering Him. When God is rightly adored, everything else finds its proper place. I'll see you in the next episode. It's been nice to be here. Grace and peace to you. Amen.